Hello and welcome to final round coverage of the 2023 Highland Open. I am joined by special guest commentator, local hero, Adrian Chevalier. Adrian, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to watch myself play and commentate for the very first time.
Well, awesome. We are very glad to have you here. Starting off, you are in the lead, 9 under par. What's your play here on hole 1, 650-foot par 4?
Yeah, I just wanted to play something safe here. I know the forehand is wide open, and I don't know. I didn't like it for whatever reason. Just start out with a nice little easy turnover because this hole's you're not going to get a 2, so you might as well just play it safe.
That's words of wisdom. Yeah, we have a pretty cool card here. Obviously, Adrian Chevalier currently in the lead. Chris Reliford, it was his brother Nick who was on the feature card and who won the previous Highland Open. Now his younger brother Chris jumping the gun, taking the reins. We've got Tad Carlson, famous from Champaign, sponsored by Millennium Discs. And then a newcomer to our coverage, Collin Thompson from Illinois State University, currently unsponsored, I believe. Another really good player. So we should have a pretty exciting card here for the final round. Yeah, all these guys go in the safety forehand play. Honestly, it's a smart way to do it because you can chop the hole into 2 halves. Just go for the birdie because, like you said, it is a tough eagle unless you go roller, and that definitely brings OB into play.
Absolutely. I believe that average said 3.98 for the open field. This was only averaging 3.54, so this is definitely one you want to start out, get a birdie. Tad very early.
Yeah, Tad usually has a pretty controlled forehand, kind of maybe an early release there. So you're about even with where he was. What are you throwing here?
This is my yarn, it looks like. Beat up one.
Okay, yeah, I know you were throwing this thing all day.
And that's pushing it a little close, but that's in bounds. Have a nice birdie putt to start the round.
Yeah, probably just inside the circle. So we have Chris Reliford.
Sponsored by Gateway.
That's correct. I don't know much of what's in his bag other than I know some prophecies, some other stuff. Yeah. some players I know their bag pretty well. Chris, I have no idea.
If you see him pull out a distance driver, it's likely a destroyer. But this year, 2024, now he's all Gateway, so no more destroyers for Chris.
Exciting to see what he does. This looks like a zone from Collin. And again, just if you play this whole forehand, it sets up pretty clean for a birdie look.
Yeah, that's Collin's. He has 2 of those orange zones in his bag. That's a Z-Flex one, I believe. So that one's, it's not the most stable, but you'll be seeing that all day.
Tad going for the circle 2 look, couldn't quite sink it. Collin with the next closest birdie look.
Oh, that's a great way to start your round right
Absolutely. Shake the nerves. Nice little, probably about a 30-footer. Adrian, you look about 20 feet maybe.
Yeah, first part of the day, you just want to get yourself close, not have a 30, 35 tester.
For sure.
So it's nice to get that one in the basket.
Chris sinks the birdie.
Tad with the upside down turbo.
if that's how you want to do it, quickly losing a stroke to the card though. You can't lose too many when you're already down by 6. Hole 2, this is the 9th hardest, playing just a touch over par when you're looking at the entire field. MA1 and MPO were the only ones to play the long layout, so this is taking all of their scores into account.
Yeah, it's a decently tough birdie, but it's really wide open. You just want to throw it in this hillside, filter up, and give yourself a makeable bid.
Absolutely, yeah. The par is very achievable. The birdie, a lot of times you're looking at an uphill putt. So the trouble comes into if you miss the putt and go long or roll back down the hill, which we've seen a handful of times in the past.
Chris with the Huck Lab something. Taking the high line. I really like that.
Yeah, really testing the ceiling and actually goes long. You almost never see anyone go long because of the height of the hill and the ceiling. So we'll see. He'll have a legit birdie look.
Collin going Sexton Firebird. This should be.
I like that play.
Pulls it.
Oh.
Turned over hard.
That must have been one of the less overstable Sexton Firebirds. He is way deep of the pin and right. Fortunately, this hole, the sidewalk, does not play OB. A lot of the holes, there's a great deal of OB, but this one, other than the creek, is pretty forgiving. Tad, I'm assuming probably a Scorpius.
Yeah, that's almost for sure a Scorpius from Tad. He's got a few of those in the bag. Not the most power. It's Tad's. So,
yeah, his game's all about control and putting. So we see Collin far enough. He's actually having to do a flick up shot, and
that is not great.
That's not the reaction you want. So we got Tad next. So he's probably 45 to 50 feet away, but Collin was still out first. That's how far Collin went. And that's a nice safe play. Get up there.
This is about the same look I gave myself first round. And
yeah, it's a tough situation because you want to run it, you want that birdie, but there's so much that can go wrong. Chris
coming back.
Trying to get the only birdie on the whole card. Great putt.
Nice, too.
So now your lead is cut to 3 strokes. There's a lot of disc golf left. We're only 2 holes in.
Yeah, a lot of disc golf left. When I saw, after seeing losing a stroke to Nick first round on this hole, or not gaining a stroke, I don't know. I saw Chris sink that, and it was nice to see him, get some of the yips out of the way. I've seen him have not the greatest putting performances, so.
Yeah, good to start sinking them early. Great par recovery from Collin.
Tad tapping in for par.
Yeah, that's not a putt you usually see Tad miss. And the par cleanup from Adrian. And we move on. Hole 3, 650 feet. Per par, it is coming in at the second easiest for the field because as long as you get in the fairway, you have a pretty good look at the birdie upshot. It is eagleable. You almost had it last time in the 2021 tournament with a huge drive. Problem is, to go for the eagle, you're really risking the out of bounds.
Yeah, I remember 2021, I did not think about the out of bounds right at all, and I was just absolutely full sending it. This year was taking it a little more conservatively.
That's smashed from Chris, but he's going to be over in the woods, so that's not going to be a clean look at the very least, but should still birdie. What are you throwing on this hole?
I'm throwing a brown ugly destroyer that is not decently flippy, kind of neutral stability, but just putting it flat, letting the disc do the work.
So that's not one of those gold crutes.
It was not. No, it's a little too stable for this hole. Well, I want to get a bunch of distance, so
yeah,
and I don't want to take the chance of hyzering off right into those woods or left. Collin likely also going destroyer.
It's flipping a little, but that should come back in. There is sidewalk by the basket. Oh, nice little kick. He's so far probably got the best look of the whole card. And Tad, again, I think this is his Scorpius. He throws this a lot.
Tad trying to follow up his eagle from first round.
Looks like a much better lie than round 1. Which means it's a more difficult eagle, probably. Something about being on the side of a hill.
I believe this is Omega or potentially Omega 4.
Okay, well, it's a great upshot. So he's basically parked for his bird. Chris close enough to jump putt.
And that's not saying much. Chris can jump putt about 160 feet, but
yeah, he puts so much spin on that disc. Adrian about the same. Nice lofty. Can't quite drop it in. Yeah, Collin Real nice drive. This looks like about 60 feet.
Bye, guys.
No such luck. Once again, we'll have to blame some of our amateur photography. I had my daughter out here, so sometimes the catch cam is very useful to us, sometimes not so much. The pad cam, also an amateur cinematographer, but we're doing the best we can because we didn't pay these guys, which is always nice. Looks like birdies for the whole card. And we're going to move on. That is why that hole comes in at the second easiest. Now we're looking at the sixth easiest, coming in just under par. Hole 4, island hole, 250 feet. And we see a lot of forehands or a lot of hyzers. You like the hyzer play here. Why do you choose that over the forehand?
I was looking at it because I remember 2021 I went with the forehand, and it's just a little more inconsistent. You gotta play it flat to hyzer, whereas going backhand on the right side, you can just chunk a hyzer where the disc is on one angle the whole time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a great shot, but as you can see, that was on hyzer. So had he got that flat, like you said, he probably could have been a little closer. I'm guessing Bergax.
This was my Bergax, throwing it pretty much anything where I am scared of going long, and I did not go long.
That's a great shot. In fact, let's look at that again. Catch cam look, and that just skitters up. That's maybe 15 feet at the most. Collin likes the forehand line. There's that same zone from hole 1.
Already seen this thing 3 times in 4 holes. And there it is.
Beautifully done. Oh, let's see his. For me, I'm a forehand guy, so I love this play. Almost hitting the pole. That's about as good as you can do it. And Tad, he's lining up the hyzer.
This, I believe, is a rhino?
It looked like a rhino. It had that thumb track.
Is it? It sneaks in.
Tad seems to be underplaying this hole a little both rounds, just always coming up just a smidge short, leaving himself more of a putt than you want on an easy hole, but no problems. Dead center chain.
Looking right at the OB, that's a dirty putt.
Let's see what Chris can do. He's a little farther away than I thought he was.
It's it. My putt from about 16 feet or so.
Adrian. Just leaving it a little low. Chris gains a stroke back on you on a hole where I would not have expected that.
Yeah, that one, I started creeping in my head that I hadn't missed any of those dinkers so far, so.
It happens to everyone. Maybe you were just setting up so you could throw last on this hole. Hole 5, over 400 feet, but nicely uphill. 4th hardest, and I think that's largely because there's OB right and left, and I don't know that this hole was birdied this turn. Maybe one.
We shall see. I remember this whole first round was very slippery, and I'm very glad that all the light snow is, or couldn't even call it snow. All the frost is gone. Chris playing a nice hyzer to probably 50 feet or so.
Yeah, round 1 there was definitely a bit of frost. We had some slips. That is the downside of a temporary course, is we don't have any kind of concrete or otherwise pads. Nice rip from Collin. And that's up there, but that's still going to be short.
Yes, we're going to play the same.
We're scared of that left right, I tell you.
Tad, another Scorpius, I'd assume. Probably also going to play this very safe.
In 2021, I think we had a lot more wind, and a lot of people were going OB right. So this year, I felt people were playing maybe a little too safe.
It's a scary hole. I saw some big numbers between this year and last year. I'm throwing my most overstable driver here, just ripping it as hard as I can. I don't want to Don't want to bring in anything understable that has a chance of turning over. And that's, I believe, CTP for the group. Have a nice bid at it.
Yeah, it looks like probably around circle's edge, maybe a little outside the circle.
Tad loves this mortar upshot. That lime green puts it to a little farther than you want to be. Here's me out, apparently.
That's surprising to me. I thought you were going to be closer. Sinks it dead center. Roll it back. What a putt.
After that last miss, I just really wanted to give it a chance and dropped it in.
It looks like we're doing a little around the horn, so Chris and Collin must have been roughly even with you. Maybe a smidge closer. Oh, chain out weak side. Great bid.
That weak side is, with how hard Chris putts, is probably never going to catch.
I thought that was dropping in for a second. So Collin also had a really good bid at the birdie here. But yeah, Adrian walks away with the only bird.
Yeah, that was the only bird. Ooh, sneaking it in.
Tad.
That was the only bird for the entire event on this hole.
I believe last time there was only one or two also, and one of them was you again.
Correct.
So might as well just call this the Adrian hole.
I would agree with that. That hole averaged for MPO was perfectly on par. One birdie, one bogey.
So we head to the fifth easiest. I like this hole. Touchy little downhill, 200 feet, OB right, double Mando. You can do a standstill putter. You can throw a forehand. You can do a lot of things. But because of the ceiling in the OB, you don't want to throw the disc hard. And that can be tricky because especially after you just threw a couple longer holes, you step up here and you have to just throw something touchy, as we see your bird X again.
Yeah, that might have been going OB right with how much hyzers, but it gets kicked down.
Yeah, it was a correction from round one, but maybe not enough of a correction.
Yeah, this is just a really tough hole for the way I like to throw. I'm fine walking away with a par. Chris.
Nice little putter toss. And that should be a pretty straightforward birdie look for him. This is a different disc he's forehanding.
Yeah, this is another more stable of Collin zones. It looks like he
That is fading.
got a little nose up.
Oh dear. And that is quickly out of bounds. He'll have the ability to try to save par, because he'll probably be about 30, 35 feet over there.
That's leaving a little meat on the bone for the par. I am just laying this up.
Yeah, that did not look like any kind of a run. So here we have Collin taking his meter in. As always, tip to you newcomers, if you are out of bounds, you are allowed an entire meter from the out of bounds. Oh. And just couldn't quite commit. The out of bounds is directly behind the basket, so sometimes it just gets a little hard to commit. Tad for par.
Chris with the only birdie look on the card. See if he can convert.
Just like that, we are back to a two-stroke game. You guys are just going back and forth right now.
Nice too.
And Collin taking a bogey. He's 6 strokes back. It's not looking good so far.
Yeah, it's not out of the question, but the way you and Chris are playing, it's not too reasonable. But he could still try to catch third place at the very least. Easiest hole on the course. Next time around, I'll probably move this basket back a little farther, maybe behind those trees, because it is a little too easy. We do have these hedge apples everywhere, but that's not an obstacle you can really depend on. Yeah, this is literally a do anything you want, throw down a hill kind of hole. It's in there. Makes it fun for the AM divisions. All divisions play this same hole.
And Chris honestly threw that about as bad as he could have, and he still has an edge of circle look. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's more of a fun hole than a hard hole, but I've seen some squirrely things happen here. As you go, that would have been long maybe, but you still have about a circle's edge putt.
Yeah, just juice it a little bit.
Right, this is that Rhino again.
That's a much better line.
Good line out of Tad. Can he avoid the hedge apples? That looked roughly parked.
I'm surprised Collin's not going forehand here. Seems like his bread and butter over this backhand.
Yeah, when I play my practice rounds here, I like to go just overstable forehand out left, just dunk it in. But just about anything works. As we're looking at about 25-footer for Chris. What's he putt with? Do you know?
I do not know what Chris putts with. I know it's gateway.
A little low. Not quite enough commitment on that one. Kind of has that stabby spin putt.
And this was a much longer putt than I wanted. First round I was parked.
No problems. Another birdie. Gain your 3-stroke lead back.
That was very nice to be able to gain a stroke on that. I do not expect to gain anything on this hole.
Absolutely not. Yeah, this very easily can be a star birdie. As we see Collin cashing his in. Yeah, Tad absolutely parked.
I actually do like it. Besides the
And the upside down putt again. I don't advise, but if you're good at it, if you trust it, do what makes you feel good, I guess.
Look at this guy.
He's got the skills to pay the bills. All right, we head to hole 8. Long pad, 340 feet, 7th easiest, playing just under par. Fun fact, between MA1 and MPO, there was an even number of holes that were under par and over par for the tournament, which I enjoy. That means things just averaged out quite nicely. Plenty easy, plenty of hard. And I like this forehand play here. Is this that brown destroyer again?
Yeah, same destroyer. Just chucking it up there as hard of a forehand hyzer and I could throw. And
Unfortunately, catch cam was in a very weird position, so I think that one may be long.
yeah, I don't quite remember, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to the putts.
Tad going Halo Scorpius. This is a little more stable than the
He's
red
going
one.
a flexier route than you went, though. And that looked pretty solid. I think he'll have a putt. I'm guessing this is like a Halo Destroyer.
Yes, I believe this is a 2022 Heimberg. Collin's got plenty of forehand power to get there. Just puts it a little low.
Again, that should be putting. Might be a little long. Chris, stack of discs. He is going the Annie play. We saw this work in 2021. And it's working its way over there. That should be a putt. You see Collin. The first of the birdie looks.
From a who knows amount of distance.
I'm going to say 100 feet.
I'm going to say 98 feet.
Okay, maybe more like 50. A good bid. Nice, lofty and safe. Just can't quite sink it. Tad, this is like just past circle's edge. Ooh. Nice spin on it. Great line. Just needed 2 inches of height. Here's Chris. Right next to Tad.
Come on, Adrian, it's about second.
I really thought that Annie was going to work farther right.
Yeah, with the... See, the flags had a right to left wind. I'm surprised he didn't get smashed down more. And he just sends that.
Dang. One more chain, and that's probably staying in. Here's your drive. Much closer than round 1. And that's a birdie. You have a 4-stroke lead all of a sudden.
That was a very nice one to get. Sad I missed it first round.
Par for Collin. No reason this shouldn't be pars for Tad and Chris. We move on. Right now, there's a real battle for third. You've got a pretty good handle on first. As we head into the final hole of the front 9. I've said before, this is one of my favorite holes, and it is coming in as the second hardest hole. Double Mando, OB left, OB long, and it's probably 150 feet from the tee to the Mando. Low ceiling.
This one, I'm very glad it turned. I was a little scared. And it looks like it just got chopped down.
Yeah, just pretty much dropped straight down. I like the forehand play here. It really helps you attack the ceiling.
Yeah, the forehand also opens up the angle between the Mando trees a little more than the backhand.
Yeah, here's Tad. Going the backhand. Turning.
I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah, that's good.
And it didn't quite see where that ended, but it kept working.
Collin once again, Sexton Firebird. He's got 4 or so of these in his bag. Back to the other Sexton.
Same color, different heart. This line looks pretty good. Maybe a little low.
Killed the drop. Sorry about your drop.
Unless that hit the ground, that should be pretty well up there.
Surprised Chris is going backhand here. His forehand's pretty competent, but
Then again,
you can throw it like that.
that was about as pure as you could throw that. And once again, the backhand kind of seems to be the play for the park job, because I think we saw it park backhand round 1. And that's 5 feet from the basket.
Looks like Collin cut rolled a little.
I don't think he went OB or anything, so this should just be another chip up shot with the zone. Catches a little cabbage. That's fine.
Ooh, Tad, sweatshirt off. Getting real.
Yeah. Decent bid. That should par. Okay, so you fought way up here.
It's much farther than I thought I fought. Give it a floaty bid. Didn't commit.
Odds are you're losing another stroke, but you'll still have a 3-stroke lead. Chris, excited for this park job. Easy birdie.
Yo, Chris, solo birdie on the round.
Goodness gracious.
Taking a stroke and a half on the field there. Very nice.
And Collin with the par. All right, well, that does it for the front 9. Please join us for the back 9. Things are really going to heat up. Back 9 plays a little harder, and it'll be coming to you shortly. Little bonus footage for you. These are the things you don't want to miss out on. All right, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for the back 9.
Power Grip is the premier disc golf shop in central Illinois. With 5 stores in Finland, we're the #1 disc golf shop in all of Europe. And this is our first shop in the United States. With thousands of discs from over 20 brands, we certainly have something for you. If you're just getting started or you're an experienced disc golfer, we're here to help. Visit us today in Bloomington or shop online with free local pickup at powergripusa.com.